I drove home after 2 hours. Already tired from the long flight after being away for 2 weeks fly from Vancouver. My mom had. I was there for her when she had a stroke and it was the worst. When things got bad, she was there for her. She was. Thank God things are back to normal now, but I was. I couldn't wait to get home to my wife Margaret. My wife. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's when she was young. And 2 weeks apart felt like always. There was no light in the house. I thought it was strange. It was just 8 a.m. It was evening, and Margaret often watched. The living room lights are on. I went to the car and took my bag out of the trunk. Going to the front door to get my keys. Then I heard a soft thump. A sound that is both rhythmic and desperate is coming. From the inside of the house. My heart stopped. I pushed the key into Even though the lock was broken, I was able to get through the door. The sound was better now. Something hit the ground, and the voice was weak, hoarse, and hard to hear. It was coming up from the basement. I dropped my bag and ran to the door to the basement. It was locked with a strong lock on the outside. I had never seen anything like it before. It got louder when it hit. More upset and loud. "Hey Margaret," I screamed, and my hands shook as I looked to take the key out of the lock. Screams. Weak, they came from the other side. "That's too bad." My wife and I ran to the garage. I used a crowbar to break that lock. 3 strong pulls. The door. I could smell something as soon as the door opened. There is urine, sweat, and something else that smells bad. I turned on the light and everything fell apart. Margaret was close to the bottom of the stairs that were dirty and shaking. Her night gown ripped and dirty. She had a face that her lips are cracked and bleeding, and she is thin. She looked at me with eyes that didn't know who I was at first. A mix of fear and confusion in her. Using language. "Tom." Her voice broke. "Is that really you?" I felt bad. Quickly ran up those stairs and picked her up. Into my arms. She was almost nothing. How long had she been here? Not having any food or water? "I am here. Dear. I'm here. I have you." I took her upstairs while I was thinking quickly. Who did this? What happened to cause this? I took Maya and put her on the couch. Calling 911 while shaking hands on the phone. "Good job." While I was giving the address While I waited for the dispatcher, I looked around the house. Things didn't look the same. Things for the house had been moved. There were a lot of boxes there. I had never seen it in that corner before. There was no pill box for Margaret. The island in the kitchen. The people who work in emergency medicine. It didn't take long to get there. They were still checking, though. Margaret's vital signs were very low because she was very thirsty. Not eating enough and starting to feel cold. Even though it was the month of September. I stood. That shocked them and made them try to figure out what had taken place. "Sir, when was the last time you saw your wife?" one of the paramedics asked. "I've been gone for 2 weeks. She was with our daughter. Jennifer was. Planned to stay with her while I was in Vancouver. I was there when my mom had a stroke. I could hardly talk." "Did Jennifer do this?" She and the EMT looked at one another. "Partner," but they didn't say anything. They put her on a stretcher, and I went with her her hand while they were in the ambulance. I whispered to her that she was safe now and that I'm sorry I left her. Across the street is Michael's hospital. Right away. A nurse pulled me aside. "While the doctors were busy, Mr. Holloway. I need to know if you put your wife in jail for 2 weeks down there in the basement." "Did you leave?" I asked. "A train that carries things." 2 weeks. My Margaret. Being stuck in that cold, dark basement for 2 weeks. I said, "I don't know," in a low voice. That's how I got in touch with her. The police officer didn't arrive for an hour. Officer Morrison from the Toronto Police. There is an elder abuse unit, yes. There is actually a special unit for this. Waited in the lobby of the hospital and I told him everything. Thomas is my name. Holloway. I don't work anymore because I'm 65 years old. In building engineering. My wife's name is Margaret. Is 63 years old. They told her she had early. 2 years ago, they found out they had early onset Alzheimer's. She is moving slowly, but she can still do. Most things are easier with a schedule and reminders. She knows all of us. Daughter doesn't get it. She can't always remember where she put things. Can't tell what time it is. Our girl. She is 38 years old and works as a CPA at a business that is small to medium-sized and is in the middle of Toronto. 3 years ago, she married Kyle. Kyle calls her. He says he's a business consultant, but I don't think that's true. I never really understood what he does, and he talks about it all the time. Cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and getting paid to do nothing. Streams. Honestly, I never liked him. Honestly, Jennifer looked good and that was a big deal. My mom had a stroke in Vancouver. At 3 o'clock, my scared sister called me. I made a reservation for the first flight in the morning. Out. Jennifer was quick to offer to help. While I'm gone, go stay with Margaret. Don't worry about anything, Dad. She'll be okay. I'll look after Mom, she said. You just. It was nice that she told me to focus on Grandma. Even calm down. Jennifer knew about her. She knew where all of her mother's habits were kept. They knew where the drugs were and how to use them. The mess and the setting sun that took place. With being ill. Every day I called. By way of Vancouver. The first week. Mom's fine, Dad, Jen said. I'm watching her favorite shows on TV. Don't worry, I'm making sure she eats. The call stopped after 2 weeks. Please leave a message. Instead, she sent a text. Sorry, I'm busy with my mom. She's fine. Please call me back. I said, see you later, but she never called me back. The first time I tried to call Margaret, her. Also, the phone went straight to voicemail. It was Jen's. He said it was okay. My mom needed me this time. Did not leave Vancouver. Detective Morrison. I took notes the whole time. Then he asked the question that made me think. The blood turned cold. While Mr. Holloway. Did you give your daughter should be able to deal with your. What about the business your wife owns? Not a chance. What did your wife sign that says your? Do you know? I don't know of any. Why? He put his book down. We need to. Mr. Holloway, we need to look into this more. It seems like this is more than just. Don't worry, we'll be in touch. Spent 3 days in the hospital. They gave her medicine and water for being outside and not getting enough food, and ran many tests. She kept asking where Jenny was. Where is Jenny? The kid was. She was making my lunch at that very moment. She wasn't, sweetheart. On the second. I went on the second day while Margaret was still asleep. I went home to look around more closely. Had to know what happened. Seeing what I did made me feel very sick. The door to the basement had a padlock on it. The outside. There was a bucket in the. That was what Margaret had used as a bathroom with a thin blanket on the floor. Earth. Not enough food or water. The bulb had been unplugged. Wife, who sometimes forgets the days. But who can't still find humor in silly things. Likes to watch the Blue Jays and tell jokes. Play, had been in jail for 2 weeks. I found more scary things upstairs. The fact that Jen's laptop was still on was proof. It was easy to find the password on the kitchen table. What I did next didn't make me happy. But I did look through her files. What I found was planned, methodical, and evil. There were scanned papers and power of. Margaret signed legal papers. The bank, the papers for the house, and your name. A file with statements and Kyle's fund as a way to make money. For an hour, read through Everything made my hands shake so badly that it was hard to click on things with the mouse. What they did. The first week, Jennifer had taken Maggie to a notary public in the lawyer's office who looked shady. Scarborough, not our lawyer. She would have got Margaret to sign the POA papers by using to get her to agree because she has Alzheimer's. Her dad was just doing business. The notary didn't seem to want to know much. Questions. Margaret wrote her name down. Not very steady, but clear. With that POA, Jennifer broke into our bank accounts. She stole $75,000 from our savings. Money that we had saved up carefully. Take care of Margaret in the future as her Alzheimer's got worse, and she also used to get a line of credit on their home. We paid $100,000 more for our home. We had lived in Leslieville for a while. For 20 years in a row. We now owed send the bank $100,000. That much money, $175,000. Sent to a place named 3 places, Thornhill Capital Management. After a few clicks, I found out that Kyle owned the business Thornhill Capital. Registered a business with a number just 6 months ago. About 6 months ago. It's business cryptocurrency. Giving advice on blockchain and investing in. Kyle was also of a cryptocurrency scheme and put the stress on my wife and the fact that I wasn't there to pay for. But this is what made me. They made me sick all the time. Talk to me, Margaret. If I had gone to the house, Marge would have told me. There was something wrong with her too. If she had Alzheimer's, she would know something was wrong. They had to keep her because they were wrong. Hold on a second. What did they do? They put her in I found a bunch of text messages in the basement. Jen and Kyle from the start. 3. Kyle, she keeps crying because she needs you. I'm sorry, Dad. This isn't going to work. People will forget about it in a day. It's good to have doubts. Kyle, what if someone watches over her? Hey, Jen? Who? Dad's in. Mom's friends in Vancouver haven't come over yet. For months because of her health. We're okay. They were ready for this. On purpose locked a weak, confused woman in a basement to kill her. The money was saved, and I called the detective Morrison. He came right away to the house with. There are 2 more police officers. I told them. The laptop, the papers, and all the other things. The notes, the state of the. Morrison said that Mr. Holloway was in the basement with care. This is bad for the old people. Using people for money and not paying them. Being put in jail. We need your wife's. She gives testimony when she can, but there is more than enough here to charge. I said, where is my daughter now? We don't know yet. Do you have a place to live? For her? Yes, I did. Kyle and Jennifer were living in an apartment in Liberty Village that's about 20. Not even 5 minutes away. Detective Morrison did The police were there within an hour of getting the call. Sent to the address where they live. Wasn't there, but what the police said. Found in that condo would lead to even more. There were extra fees. The place was almost. There was nothing there, not even furniture. Cleaned out, but tossed away. Is where they found cops who were dirty. Forms for one-way trips and bank statements. A paper email and plane tickets to Portugal. From a company that manages properties in. They lived in Lisbon for about 6 months. We were going to run and get the money. And go to a country without. Act to send people back for crimes involving money. But they left behind too much evidence. They didn't think about how. When I would be back. My mother is getting better. Was quicker than I thought it would be, and going home 3 days earlier than I thought. I had a plan. If I had stayed in Vancouver for the whole 2 weeks, just like we planned, Margaret. It was not safe to be in that basement. Kyle and Jennifer would have found. Her body showed that she was very sad. Daughter and flew to Lisbon. The detective did it before anyone could ask. Morrison was very clear. You saved your wife's life by coming back. Knowing that my daughter, the little girl I taught how to ride a bike and cried in my arms when her pet fish died. She was ready when she was 7. She let her own mother die so she could get money. They couldn't take it anymore, so they started looking for the man. Toronto police issued warrants for Kyle and Jen. The expressions on their faces. In less than 2 days. Daughter and the son-in-law's plan was to tell the police about the abuse. The press had a lot of fun. My phone couldn't be turned off. Journalists. People who live close by or used to work with me. Getting in touch. I didn't pay attention. Margaret was the main character, but she was let go. The 4th day after leaving the hospital. Not strong yet, but getting stronger. But her thoughts were all over the place. Asked over and over where Jennifer was. She would ask, "Are you coming over for dinner?" "Oh no, not tonight." "Did I do it? What went wrong? Why won't she come over?" How do you tell someone who has their daughter has Alzheimer's disease that the woman she gave birth to was a monster? Locked her up with the people she cared about and raised. A basement where they could steal from her. I was unable to do it, so I held her hand and Jenny is busy right now, but I told them, I'm not going anywhere. On the 6th day, police arrested Jennifer and Kyle at we take off from Pearson Airport. They tried to get on their first flight to London ever. Take a break, then go to Portugal. They were stopped at the border. Right away. Morrison, the detective, called. We have them in an hour. They are locked up. I didn't feel anything. No. Not satisfied, just calm down. The charges were strong. 2 counts of elder abuse and 2 counts of taking someone else's money without permission. 2 counts of false. 2 counts of fraud and being sent to jail for 1 charge of forgery and $5,000. The papers for the POA. Kyle had to deal with more charges because of his. This was an investment fund that turned out to be. Wow, what a shock. A plan that looked like a Ponzi scheme. He had taken to get at least 30 more investors to give them money. Everyone who is weak or old. Digital currency that promises to give back 40% of its value. Trades that didn't happen. He just moved money around and paid. New investors give money to old investors. A famous case of fraud. Who works for the Crown? The case was given to a smart woman. Lisa Chan and I met last week. Once they were caught, she put out "My name is Mr. Holloway, and this is a deep case. The worst case of abuse of an elderly person ever. A few cases I've worked on. Getting things in order and making the most of how his wife was feeling, how much money they throw away. This is important. We want to get the best." "How long?" I asked. "Laster," he said. "A mix of abuse and being held against your will. With spending money in the wrong way. Jen will have to wait between 8 and 12 years. 10 to 15 for Kyle because of the more charges of fraud. And the money." Patricia's face became softer. "That's Kyle's money is going to make things harder. Broke. There isn't any money left because it has all been spent. Went to a different country or paid too soon. People who can help the plan stay on track. We'll go to court to get our money back, but we want you to tell us the truth about how you're doing." The $175,000 was, in other words, leaving our savings and the value of our house. Went missing in Kyle's cryptocurrency scam. I asked the question that had been following me around. Did she get it? "Hi Jennifer, did she know that Kyle was making fake cash?" Patricia opened the file with the proof inside. Based on the texts and emails we got, she did know that much. She helped him find new workers. She had investors, and 2 of them were the people she worked with at her CPA firm. She filled out fake financial forms for the money. She did a lot of things. She didn't hurt my kid. What her husband wanted to do. She had a partner in crime. The hearing for bail was. It hurt. Jennifer's lawyer made the case for free until the trial, no crime record, ties to the community, and a low flight. It's a risk, even though it's in France. Crown didn't say that. It's clear to fly. Risk, getting rid of proof, and the judge agreed that Janet is in danger. The Crown. Bail said no to the offer. Liz and Jennifer. Kyle was going to stay in jail at the Toronto South Detention Center. I was there for the hearing. I sat down in front of the trail. I saw my daughter from the back row. A person in an orange jumpsuit begged the judge for help to get away with it. She cried because she felt bad about what she did. She said she was very wrong. She tried to say something when she saw me. Something. Dad, please. I got up and I didn't see her. She left. The case of the crime went on, but I wasn't willing to wait for justice from. I hired a lawyer and went to court. Chris Walsh is a partner at a law firm that deals with elder law and estate law. A lawsuit. It was clear what he meant. You should file a civil suit, Thomas. A lawsuit. You should sue them for everything they did wrong. Taken, plus money to pay for what they did. Margaret all the way. Even if they don't. They might have money now, but not in the going forward. Things like land, cash, and presents. Put it away. I went to court 2 weeks ago. Kyle and Jennifer Holloway will be here soon. The people Morrison is accusing say they are financially harm on purpose by taking advantage of stress caused by emotions. Breach of conversion of $175,000 in damages for not following the duty of care. $200,000 in stolen cash and more damage for Margaret's pain. But there was still more to do. I spoke with the College of CPAs of Ontario. Jennifer used her proof that you are an accountant. Give Kyle's plan some thought. Her people who worked with her at the accounting firm had believed in her professional judgment. She broke all of her rules. I filed a formal complaint at work. In a month, she will get her CPA license. Was put on hold until the result of the being charged with a crime. If she was guilty, she would never work again as a lawyer. As a bookkeeper again. That should have. It felt good, but it didn't. It had to. The next few months were a blur. Margaret's Alzheimer's is getting worse. Stress makes brain function go away faster. She stopped when I told her what her neurosurgeon said. Calling to find out how Jennifer was doing, which it was worse than the questions. It felt like in her head, her daughter was no longer a way to stay safe. Someone did it for me. Full-time caregiver to help with. While I took care of the law, Margaret. The bills kept coming in during the proceedings. How much money for medical care, court fees, and we have to pay the mortgage on the Helilock. Didn't want to. We were going down. The amount of money and the people in charge were in jail while they waited for their trial. The first hearing happened in January. It had been 5 months since Margaret had been saved. Said in court. I led the court through how to find Margaret by the papers by figuring out what they did. Jennifer's lawyer tried to make it seem like she was a victim and also fooled Kyle, who is hurt and wants money because she has problems with her own mental health. The judge knew it was garbage. When the judge said, "Miss Holloway, you know how to do accounting. You knew exactly what you were doing. You took advantage of how your mom thought. Making money by taking advantage of someone else's weakness. That doesn't mean it's okay to." That. The case was sent to case in court. The date of the court is June 8th. But the nightmare has been going on for months. Something strange happened before the trial. Kyle's lawyer was there. Crown with the deal. Kyle would ask. Be honest about all the charges and help. Ready to answer Jennifer's charges in. For a shorter sentence. Say that Jennifer was the maven, that she had everything thought out. Thing, which he had just said he would do. That he threw his away because he was scared. He threw his wife under the bus to stay alive. But Patricia Chan called me to talk about. We have a if Kyle testifies clause. There is a strong case against Jennifer. Both the evidence and the testimony. Promise of conviction and a strong. What do you think? Will he do time? Yes, we're giving 8, I ask. Years, with the option of getting out on parole after. Getting 2/3, he'll be in jail for at least 5 years, and probably longer. Hey Jennifer, she has to deal with. There is always the chance that something bad will happen with A. But we would have if Kyle had testified. I thought you should push for 12 years. I still ask about Margaret sometimes. I was curious about why Jenny doesn't call. I remembered those 2 weeks in the basement. About the house and the money that was lost. There is no longer any trust or equity. I said to Kyle, deal, he said he was guilty. February. The hearing for sentencing was. He was quick to say sorry. I know. His lawyer wrote everything. Mr. Morrison, I didn't think much of you. Took part in a plan that went after people who are weak and over 65. You, even your own mother-in-law. 8. Put making money before being nice to people. Spent a year in federal prison. In June, Jennifer's court case began. For 3 weeks. The Crown gave the proof, the POA fraud, and the bank. The basement, the manuscripts, and the moves. Getting ready to go on vacation to Portugal. They asked Margaret to testify. The worst day ever. Seeing the wife, who is upset and doesn't know what to do, tries to explain what had happened to her. Getting lost and forgetting things. Jennifer asked her if she could go home. Because of this, the lawyer tried to use it to his advantage. Say that Margaret was not trustworthy witness, but the Crown did the video. The police had caught the basement the day they murdered a warrant to search. That dark, cold place. The bucket, the thin blanket, and Margaret had left marks on the door where she had. She tried to get out by scratching. They only looked and didn't move. There were 2 of them. Then Kyle spoke. He started by saying the whole thing. What Jennifer had. She told him about the idea she had. Looked into the laws about POAs and told them what she found. The notary who didn't want to know anything. What time frame she had set based on a trip to Vancouver. He said it was her fault. I did what she asked me to do. Even if it was partly for their own good. It was proven. The laptop proved that she had been studying. Having power of attorney and taking advantage of old people. And places that don't have weeks to send someone back. Before my mom had a stroke. Jennifer stood up for herself in her own defense. It didn't work at all. She made an effort to tell us she wanted to help us, that she had used Kyle, and he had. Crown, I never wanted to hurt anyone. During cross-examination, she was ruined. You told your husband something in a text message. She'll forget. Give it a day or 2. It's okay to be confused. You said. What did you want your mom to do? Did you forget? Shut up. You, Miss Holloway. You put your mom in the basement and couldn't get her out. For 14 days without food or water. You got her. You were going to leave the country, and you want this court too. Do you really believe you never meant to hurt anyone? Jennifer lost it. The judge was not changed. I thought about it for 4 hours. People said they were guilty of everything. I sent in a victim after months. A 5-page letter that goes into great detail about the effects. What this did to Margaret and me. How we had lost not just our money, but also our safety and health. Mary tried to keep our family and trust safe. You can give her one too, but she has Alzheimer's. Made it impossible. Instead, they sent a letter that said how the stress had made her move faster. Loss of mental ability. The judge read Then she looked at. Say hi to Jennifer. You are Miss Holloway. You are a smart and well-educated woman. Found out how weak you took advantage of your mom's health. Without feeling bad. You didn't let anyone down. Not only did she trust him, but she also trusted all of being nice to other people. This court doesn't see useful things. Hey Jennifer Holloway. A federal court gave you a 12-year prison sentence. I let out a breath. That was it. That's not right. The lawsuit was about Kyle and Jennifer got married a month later. They were both in charge of $375,000. Of course, they don't have that much money. The court could see what might happen in the future. If they have money, land, or an inheritance. We'll get it if we ever need it, but we'll never see that in real life. The order to pay back the loan from we say they owe us $175,000 in the criminal case. Curious. Good luck again. Getting the house back. We could turn the helilock into our loan. But we have to pay for the first one now. For the first time in 2 decades. This will cost us money. For all time. Taking care of Margaret is getting more and more expensive. Her Alzheimer's is getting worse. That's part of it, but not all of it. You might want to put the house up for sale. To have enough money in a few years to buy memory. Just be careful. Jennifer is in Grand Valley. The lady's home is about an hour's drive away. To the west of Toronto. She will be able to. Kyle has been free for 8 years now. Joyceville is a prison that is not very safe. He can leave jail on parole. I haven't been there in 5 years, and I won't go back. The visit doesn't matter to me. I don't have a daughter anymore. People ask me about it. I wish I hadn't gone after so many harsh accusations. I can do it if I want to. As a family, we tried to figure it out. This is what I think about 12 years. I told them that Jen locked her up in the basement, where her mother was scared and didn't know where she was. For 2 weeks and stole everything we had. Saved to look after Margaret in her last days. Years. She was going to let Margaret die, and send the money to a different country. Did all of this on purpose and was aware of it. Without any morals. 12 years isn't too long. It's not nice. Margaret doesn't think it's kind. I sometimes forget where Jennifer is. She keeps asking, and I tell her Jennifer is. I have to work away from home. It's not as hard as telling someone the truth who. It doesn't matter what the reason is, I won't remember it. Margaret forgot who I was last month. For the first time ever. She looked at me and said. Looked me up and down and asked me who I was. And why I was at her place. Had only been an hour since she knew me again, but it has begun, the last thing to do. I think about that. There were times when Jennifer stole not just our time and money. Before we left, Janet and I had Alzheimer's took over her whole body. You should have used those 2 weeks. They were together, but Margaret used them all up. I can't stop thinking about that. In the end, you'll get your money back. You can sell the house, but not for 2 weeks. And every day after that was full by stress, fear, and trauma. Just to be clear, I don't feel bad about it's not fair that I have to do it again after 12 years. It's about getting back at someone. That's what it means to take responsibility. And it's clear that some things are that they can't let go of. My daughter learned that the hard way. I hope everyone who reads this, you can learn a lot from this story. Your family needs to trust you a lot. You shouldn't be surprised by what happens next. I'll break your back. Yes, Margaret, we are still here. Still together, but still fighting. Is that everything? Jennifer wanted more than this for us, and it's more than she will have in a years, and to be honest, that's all. Justice that matters.